He was a martial arts master, a movie star, and at one point, an honorary deputy sheriff in Louisiana. But what happened to Steven Seagal? And why does he always look like he's about to ask you if you've seen his reading glasses? Let's rewind to 1988. The action movie landscape was dominated by guys who could bench press small vehicles. Stallone was punching sides of beef. Schwarzenegger was telling us he'd be back. And somewhere in Hollywood, a studio executive looked at Steven Seagal and thought, you know what audiences want? A guy who whispers his way through fight scenes. Seagal burst onto the scene with Above the Law, playing Nico Toscani, a character so Italian-American that his mustache had its own accent. The movie was fine. But here's the thing about Steven Seagal in 1988. He was genuinely intimidating. 7-degree black belt in Aikido, built like a refrigerator with commitment issues, and he moved with the kind of confidence that comes from knowing you could snap someone's wrist 17 different ways. In theory, this should have worked. And for a while, it did. Hard to kill, marked for death, out for justice, Seagal was the action hero for people who thought other action heroes talked too much. He didn't quip like Bruce Willis or flex like Stallone. He just existed menacingly, like a human embodiment of a very expensive kitchen knife. Then came Under Siege in 1992, and suddenly, Steven Seagal was box office gold. Picture this, Die Hard but on a battleship, starring a guy who looked like he ran a very successful organic farm. The movie made $156 million worldwide, which in 1992 money was roughly equivalent to buying a small country. Blockbuster Video probably ordered more copies of Under Siege than they did of Citizen Kane. The success was intoxicating. Suddenly, Steven Seagal wasn't just an action star, he was a brand. He had that mysterious background story. CIA operative turned martial arts instructor turned Hollywood heavyweight. He spoke fluent Japanese, claimed to have trained with actual ninjas, and had allegedly worked for the government in ways that were too classified to discuss at parties. Was any of this true? Well, that's where things get interesting. Success has a funny way of revealing who people really are. And Steven Seagal, as it turned out, was a lot. By the mid-90s, stories from Seagal sets read like a masterclass in how not to work with others. He allegedly rewrote scripts mid-production, insisted on doing his own fight choreography, and developed a reputation for being, let's call it, creatively inflexible. Imagine Steven Seagal, 1995, storming into a boardroom in slow motion, just because he could. The whisper acting that made him mysterious in Above the Law was becoming a parody of itself. Watch any Seagal movie from this era and count how many times he delivers crucial plot information like he's telling bedtime stories to very dangerous children. I'm going to take you to the bank, Senator Trent, to the blood bank. That's an actual line from Hard to Kill. Someone wrote that down, showed it to other people, and they all agreed it should be in a movie that cost $11 million to make. But here's where the cracks started showing. In 1996 executive decision, Seagal was supposed to be the main character alongside Kurt Russell. Instead, his character gets killed off in the first act. Rumor has it this wasn't entirely planned. Word is that Seagal was difficult to work with. So difficult that the solution was to literally write him out of his own action movie. That's like being too extra for your own birthday party. Meanwhile, other action stars were evolving. Jackie Chan was doing impossible stunts with comedic timing. Keanu Reeves was learning kung fu in The Matrix. And Steven Seagal was perfecting the art of the ponytail. Ah yes, the ponytail era. A time when Seagal looked like he should be selling handmade dream catchers at a Renaissance fair, but was instead snapping necks in direct-to-video thrillers. The budgets were getting smaller, the plots were getting weirder, and Seagal's characters were getting increasingly mystical. He wasn't just an ex-cop or ex-CIA anymore. He was a guy with spiritual powers who could sense evil from 3 counties away. Here's where it gets weird. By 2002, Steven Seagal had officially entered what film historians call the direct-to-DVD wasteland. Then there was the reality show Steven Seagal, Lawman, which followed his adventures as a deputy sheriff. It was like Cops, but if Cops starred someone who looked like they should be headlining a very niche music festival. The show lasted 2 seasons, which in reality TV terms is basically a participation trophy. But the real plot twist came when Seagal started getting cozy with international politics. He became buddies with Vladimir Putin, received Russian citizenship, and started making statements about geopolitics that made his movie dialogue seem sophisticated by comparison. The memes practically wrote themselves. Seagal's interview clips became comedy gold, rambling stories about his mysterious past, claims about training UFC fighters, and philosophical insights that sounded like they came from a very confused fortune cookie. Social media discovered Steven Seagal around 2015, and suddenly everyone realized something that martial arts experts had known for years. Watching Steven Seagal fight was like watching someone try to do Tai Chi while wearing an invisible straitjacket. His signature move, the wrist grab into arm twist, became so predictable that fans started making drinking games out of it. So, what happened to Steven Seagal? Well, he's still making movies. About 2 or 3 a year, in fact. They have titles like General Commander and Beyond the Law, and they're filmed in places like Romania and Bulgaria, exotic locations where your dollar stretches further and stunt coordinators ask fewer questions. The man who once commanded $3 to $4 million per picture now makes films with budgets that wouldn't cover craft services on a Marvel movie. But here's the thing about Steven Seagal. He's consistent. Consistently bizarre, consistently confident, and consistently wearing all black like he's perpetually on his way to either a funeral or a very serious karate demonstration. In a way, Steven Seagal achieved something most action stars never do. He became immortal, not in the cool Highlander way, but in the internet meme way. He's the action hero who became a parody of himself so completely that the parody became more entertaining than the original product. Steven Seagal taught us that confidence can take you far in Hollywood. Really, really far. Sometimes all the way to straight-to-DVD purgatory, but still far. He also taught us that no matter how tough you think you are, there's always someone on the internet ready to turn your fight scenes into a highlight reel of unintentional comedy. And somewhere out there, a stuntman is still nursing a bruised ego and a dislocated shoulder. Steven Seagal. He came, he whispered, he conquered, sort of.